Welcome to the Poetry Pea. If this is your first time here with us, hello, I'm Patricia. And for everyone else, welcome back. Lovely to be with you again. We're getting to that time of year when I look back at what we've produced and start to nominate to all the various bodies who had awards. You know, we've achieved a great deal together this year. We've written 6 journals of poetry. The last one will be out at the end of the year. We had the very first journal of split sequences to be published anywhere, Split Peas, which reminds me, I'm putting together the next one. Make sure you have your split sequences into me by the deadline, which is the 21st of December 2024. If you're successful, you'll be in the second volume of Split Peas. We also published our first volume of Haibun, Tendrils. There'll be another one next year. Don't forget to consult the submission drop-down for 2025 on the website. And of course, our pièce de résistance this year was our very first anthology of haiku with a seasonal theme. Little Marvels. There will be a second volume of Little Marvels next year on the themes of belonging and alienation. And I'm going to bring you some talks from poets to get you thinking. If you'd like to submit to the anthology, you need to be on the mailing list. Only poets on the mailing list will be invited, and I do check as I go along. Last and definitely not least, the podcast has a membership scheme, which was new this year. There are various levels which can be purchased with different benefits. Hopefully you can find one to suit you. You can pay monthly or annually, and you can pay via Buy Me a Coffee or by PayPal. But whatever you choose, you will know that you're helping to keep the podcast a free resource for those who need it. And yes, I think poetry is something you need in life. Don't you? My thanks to everyone who's signed up. You know, if only 5% of our listeners signed, the costs of the year would easily be met. As you know, we're pretty democratic here at Pea Towers. When someone achieves an editor's choice, it's because they've earned that accolade by a vote. These votes are done on merit. The editing team don't know the poet's name when the poems are put forward to be judged. Generally, I don't get a say, but there is one time a year when, even though I take the thoughts of other people into account, I make the final decision as to who gets nominated for awards. So today I'm going to give you my nominations for the Touchstone Awards. I can only nominate 2 individual poems and a haibun, but perhaps in the next few years, Poetry Pea Press will have books to nominate. But that's a conversation to have with you another day. It's extremely difficult choosing these poems because you all write so beautifully. Keep submitting, and if you're not on my list this year, you'll have lots of opportunities next year. So good luck to these haiku and haibun. I'm sending them off in their lovely, neat little Poetry Pea uniforms with a lunchbox to go even deeper into the world and enthuse the hearts and minds of the Touchstone judges. I bet you want to know what they are now, don't you? Okay, I'm going to have a sip of my tea and then we're off. The first nominations are from Little Marvels, our Poetry Pea Anthology 2024. All of a sudden, the world shrinks into water lilies. All of a sudden, the world shrinks into water lilies. Muskan Hoeja. Moonless night, crossing the lake on creaking ice. Moonless night, crossing the lake on creaking ice. Karl Bachmann. Tangerine sunset, a busker's song stirs the autumn leaves. Tangerine sunset, a busker's song stirs the autumn leaves. Mona Bedi. Thunderheads, this whim to storm the earth. Thunderheads, this whim to storm the earth. Rupa Anand. Ornamental gourds, I wonder, what is this lump? Ornamental gourds, I wonder, what is this lump? C. Jean Downer. Fallen leaves, the spot her car left the road. Fallen leaves, the spot her car left the road. Matt Snyder. Startling turkeys, we cause a traffic jam. Startling turkeys, we cause a traffic jam. Jerome Berglund. Letter from home, the scent of fallen shuli. Letter from home, the scent of fallen shuli. Janavi Gogoi. And now from Journal 1/24. Cataract winter, the drift of snow on a lens. Cataract winter, the drift of snow on a lens. Peter Chastemsky. Sanding the rough edges, desert fog. Sanding the rough edges, desert fog. Cynthia Anderson. Snow-filled graveyard. On the tip of a white cross, a black raven. Snow-filled graveyard. On the tip of a white cross, a black raven. Lisa, Germany. 10,000 snowdrops on a hill. Diaspora. 10,000 snowdrops on a hill. Diaspora. Tony Williams. And these are from Journal 2/24. Flat Lake. So many galaxies for dessert. Flat Lake. So many galaxies for dessert. Brett Brady. Desert snow as far as I can smell. Desert snow as far as I can smell. Victor Ortiz. Yellow leaves and sunlight. The same story. Yellow leaves and sunlight. The same story. Adam Haver. From Journal 3/24. Hilltop meadow. Cows drift in and out of cloud shadows. Hilltop meadow, cows drift in and out of cloud shadows. Ben Oliver. Hurricane prep. The stray cat sneaks her babies into our garage. Hurricane prep. The stray cat sneaks her babies into our garage. Pris Campbell. First fly. What does it take to be left alone? First fly. What does it take to be left alone? Ron Scully. Muggy afternoons. Even the dog blinks, one eye at a time. Muggy afternoons. Even the dog blinks, one eye at a time. Sangeeta Kalarikal. The next few are from Journal 424. Leaving the fast lane, slippers, cardigan, teapot, smelling the roses. Leaving the fast lane, slippers, cardigan, teapot, smelling the roses. Clive Grucock. His temper gets the better of her. Apple maggots. His temper gets the better of her. Apple maggots. Erin Castoldi. From Journal 524. Not quiet, not quite night jasmines. Not quiet, not quite night jasmines. Sankara Jayanath. Electric bill. The thermostat set at 2 sweaters. Electric bill. The thermostat set at 2 sweaters. Christine Wenck Harrison. Overwhelmed by credit card debt. Cherry blossoms. Overwhelmed by credit card debt. Cherry blossoms. Joshua St. Clair. Clear morning, the wind whispers rain to a fisherman. Clear morning, the wind whispers rain to a fisherman. Shrini. Grey waves, the rolling gait of the peddler. Grey waves, the rolling gait of the peddler. Amy Watson. Monsoon evening, plastic-covered heads hurry home. Monsoon evening, plastic-covered heads hurry home. Namrata Varadharajan. And from the last journal of the year, 624, which will be out on New Year's Eve or thereabouts, a last few haiku. Another world brought into being, beaver pond. Another world brought into being. Beaver Pond. Melissa Dennison. Yuletide spirit, surrendering to the spell for a spell. Yuletide spirit, surrendering to the spell for a spell. Madhavi Kari. Holiday Express. A swell of carols rise in the frosted night. Holiday Express. A swell of carols rise in the frosted night. Sandeep Chauhan. And now a haibun which comes from our dedicated journal, Tendrils, its first volume out in 2024. It's called Iterations, and it's by David J. Kelly. The new year is waking. Another cycle has begun. Or is it a cycle within a cycle? I'm getting lost in the circularity of life. Each plant follows a cycle, seed, then shoots, then leaves, then flowers, each with its own calendar. Every year I sense snowdrops gently lower their checkered flags to let spring race in. Our well-tended green, all at once an anarchy of yellow trumpets. Our well-tended green, all at once an anarchy of yellow trumpets. I thought I'd be ready this year to walk the neighbourhood and the local parks, to monitor the progression as each new colour emerged. Yet I sat inside, convinced those activities were more vital than the explosion of life around me. I can't help but feel a loss, a diminishment. I've aged without growing. The crocus next door, its dark purple petals cast as leaf litter. The crocus next door, its dark purple petals cast as leaf litter. In a frantic whir of organisation, I make plans. I must visit places where the symphonic synchronicity of spring cannot pass without notice. In Japan, there is a cherry blossom season. Their national news offers viewers Sakura Zenzen. I had to turn off last night before the newsreader had even finished the headlines. More violent deaths. A seasoned correspondent struggles for words. More violent deaths. A seasoned correspondent struggles for words. So congratulations to my 2024 nominees. As I said before, it's really, really difficult to choose just a small number, but choose I must. But I hope you'll join me in submitting lots and lots of poetry in all the different forms we feature next year. And maybe, just maybe, I'll be reading yours out this time next year. Thank you so much for listening today, and a big thank you to the editing teams this year who make all the first decisions about submissions. Liam, Robert, Ron, Vandana, Lorraine, Lev, Matt, Linda, Shane, and of course Richard, without whose help the journals would be a right old mess, let me tell you. See you next week for more poetry. But until then, keep writing. And don't forget to check the show notes out for Peter Jastrzemski's workshop on split sequences. And if you haven't got your submission into me, please get it done by the 21st of December 2024. You know I take no prisoners. Anyone late has to do without. But if you've missed that submission period, do check out the submission agenda on the website. Ciao!